You know when you keep seeing the exact same numbers everywhere, like on clocks, license plates, maybe your coffee receipt? What if I told you those numbers might not just be a random coincidence, but kind of like a master activation code? Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unraveling a genuinely fascinating mystery that bridges the gap between historical genius, spiritual manifestation, and modern cognitive psychology. We are diving deep into Tesla's key to the universe, specifically his absolute, borderline obsession with the numbers 3, 6, and 9, and how that obsession has totally evolved into this massive phenomenon we now call the 369 method.
So we've got a lot of incredible ground to cover today. We're going to start right at the source with Tesla's key to the universe and then decode the magic of 369. From there, we'll walk through the practical stuff, like the 33-day journaling method and the alarm clock alternative. And finally, we'll ground all of this in actual science with the brain's success filter, before wrapping up with making the magic real.
Section 1. Tesla's key to the universe. Unlocking the mystery of divine numbers.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand the 369 method, we have to travel back in time a bit and get inside the mind of the famous Serbian-American inventor, Nikola Tesla. Now, you probably know him for the Tesla coil or early remote control, right? But he was also a man of deep, deep spiritual enlightenment. Tesla firmly believed that these three specific digits held the literal secrets to universal patterns, to nature, and basically the whole human blueprint. He even called them divine numbers. He theorized that they were just fundamentally embedded in the mathematical fabric of reality itself. For instance, think about a circle for a second. It has 360 degrees. Add 3 plus 6 plus 0, and you get 9. Tesla observed that no matter how many times you divided a circle, the outcome would always mathematically reduce down to a 3, a 6, or a 9. He truly saw these numbers as his personal key to the universe.
Section 2. The magic of 369. Decoding the numbers. So how does this translate into the modern interpretations we see today? What do these numbers actually represent when we pull them out of strict math and put them into the realm of spiritual meaning? Well, according to the manifestation teachings that grew out of Tesla's theories, the number 3 is considered incredibly sacred. It represents divine creation, expression, and it basically acts as a direct, unclouded link between your thoughts and the universe. You can think of it as the foundational energy you need to bring something entirely new into existence. Moving on to the number 6. This digit is all about balance, harmony, and love. It's deeply, deeply connected to the inner strength that we all possess as individuals. The idea is that when you focus on the number 6, you're essentially aligning your mind and your body so you can maintain equilibrium while you're grinding away toward your goals.
And finally, we reach the number 9. 9 symbolizes completion, profound wisdom, and spiritual awakening. It's really the number of letting go. By releasing all that negativity and your old, worn-out patterns, 9 clears out the space you need for your intentions to rapidly turn into reality. When you put them all together, 3, 6, and 9 form what a lot of spiritual seekers call a true master activation code.
Section 3. The 33-day journaling method, the blueprint.
So, the absolutely crucial question is, how do we actually use this code? Well, this brings us to a really highly structured, super popular practice created by a lightworker named Corinne Yee. She brilliantly took Tesla's methodology and smashed it together with the teachings of manifestation expert Abraham Hicks. The result? A super practical daily blueprint. Now, what's really fascinating about her first step is this thing called the 17-second rule. Before you even write a single word down, you have to craft an affirmation. The theory goes that the brain takes exactly 17 seconds of pure focus to truly create the energy of a thought. So your affirmation needs to be, about 2 sentences long, written entirely in the present tense, and just absolutely packed with emotion and gratitude. Actually, scratch that. Let's use an example. You wouldn't just say, I want a new job. Instead, you'd say something like, I am so incredibly thankful for the universe bringing this joyful, fulfilling new career into my life. Once you've got that perfect 17-second affirmation, you follow this exact structured daily routine. First thing when you wake up, you write it down 3 times. This sets your clear intention for the day. Then, midway through your day, maybe grab your journal while you're on your lunch break, you write it out 6 more times to really amplify that energy. And finally, right before your head hits the pillow, you write it 9 times. This last step is meant to basically set your manifestation in stone, locking it deep into your subconscious before you drift off to sleep. And here is the kicker. You do all of this for exactly 33 days straight. Why 33? Well, keeping with the theme, and honestly it's just a brilliant mathematical coincidence, 3 times 3 equals 9, and 3 plus 3 equals 6.
It's all about focus, consistency, and keeping those divine digits active in your everyday routine just to see what kind of magic happens.
Section 4. The alarm clock alternative. Another path to manifestation. But hey, what if you just aren't the journaling type? What if carrying a pen and paper around feels kinda archaic in our fast-paced digital world? Well, don't worry, there's another pathway that uses the exact same numbers but adapts them to a totally different lifestyle. And this brilliantly illustrates just how flexible these concepts can be. Instead of physically journaling, the alarm method has you pick 3 specific things you want to manifest. Then you set 6 alarms on your phone to go off throughout the day. Whenever an alarm buzzes, you just pause whatever you're doing and mentally repeat each of those desires 9 times. It's such a cool comparison, right? One relies on the physical, kinesthetic act of writing it out, while the other trains your brain through scheduled, persistent mental repetition. Section 5. The brain's success filter. The science of the woo-woo. Now, all of this brings us to a pretty massive question. Is this all just spiritual woo-woo, or is there a grounded, actual scientific reason why repeating your goals multiple times a day works? Let's bridge that gap. From a psychological standpoint, the success of the 369 method strongly maps onto something called your reticular activating system, or the RAS. Your brain is literally processing millions of bits of information every single second. To keep you from totally short-circuiting, the RAS acts like a giant filter, blocking out the noise and highlighting what it thinks is important. By repeating your goals 3, 6, and 9 times a day, you are literally reprogramming your RAS. You're constantly telling your brain, hey, this goal matters, which prompts you to automatically start spotting opportunities, pathways, and solutions that you would have otherwise completely ignored. When we view these two perspectives side by side, it's just amazing how much they overlap. What spiritual practitioners call the law of attraction, psychologists just call intention setting. Where a spiritualist sees divine alignment in all this repetition, science sees it as training the reticular activating system. And having unwavering belief in your goal, well, that's attributed to spirit guides on one hand, and self-efficacy, which is the psychological belief in your own capability, on the other. So really, whether you're a devoted spiritual seeker or a pretty strict skeptic, the 369 method is ultimately just a masterclass in focused, unwavering intention. Section 6. Making the magic real. Tips and reality checks. So, if you're feeling inspired and ready to try this out, there are some essential ground rules to ensure you're setting yourself up for success, plus a few reality checks we definitely need to cover. First, always speak and write in the present tense. Saying, I want just tells your brain you're currently in a state of lacking. Second, don't obsess over the how. You set the intention, but you gotta stay open to unexpected avenues. Third, you absolutely must be consistent every single day. And finally, to quote Nikola Tesla himself, you have to focus on energy, frequency, and vibration. You really need to feel the emotion of your success in your bones. But here is the reality check we promised. Manifestation is not a magic wand. You literally cannot just write a goal down on a piece of paper, sit on your couch binge watching TV, and expect the universe to just Amazon Prime it to your doorstep. The 369 method bridges the gap between wishing and achieving by getting your mindset perfectly aligned, but it is absolutely never a substitute for getting up and taking actual real-world action towards your goals. Furthermore, we do have to look at the clinical data impartially here. Psychological research actually issues a bit of a warning. Studies show that folks with an overly high belief in manifestation sometimes fall into the trap of setting highly unrealistic timelines. This absolute unshakable certainty that the universe will provide no matter what has been linked in some cases to people making much riskier financial investments and, statistically speaking, experiencing higher rates of bankruptcy. To put that into perspective, it's just a solid reminder that self-efficacy is great, but it always has to be paired with a positive yet grounded, realistic outlook. Tesla truly believed that 3, 6, and 9 were the literal keys to the universe. And today, they remain an incredibly powerful framework for channeling your thoughts, organizing those daily habits, and literally training your brain to seek out success. By tapping into Tesla's key to the universe, you are taking absolute control of your focus. So I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. What is one specific goal that you can focus your energy, frequency, and vibration on today? Give it a shot, put it to the test, and just see what you can achieve. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.